Parkour! 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 World Parkour Day!
Hello and welcome to Punchlines. It's National Parkour. That was our tribute to The Office, was it not, Ryan?
Yeah.
Done a good job.
Parkour.
I'm sure if you're an Office fan, you remember them doing the part. It is. It's National We Jump the World Day, a.k.a. Parkour Day. That's us being idiots in the South Point parking lot. Hope you enjoyed that. What's up? Welcome to our studio located right here in the Sportsbook at the South Point Casino in Las Vegas. The show is Punchlines. I'm Frank Nicotero, longtime comedian, lifelong sports fan. And today's show, well, I am almost as pumped as Titans quarterback Will Levis was last night at Game 4 of the Nashville Predators game. Almost. Okay, so hikes the catfish.
Yeah.
He looks off his receivers.
Lloyd Cushenberry snapping the catfish
Nice.
to him. Have to kiss the fish.
You got to kiss the fish. That's the thing. There you go. That's nice. That's how to endear yourself to the local fans right there. But it's a tradition, but the tradition didn't really help. The Predators lost the game. But Taylor Lewan, ex-offensive lineman for the Titans, he had a good time at the game as well, Kelsey style. So here he is. He's chugging a beer and then just dumps out. It's a lineman for you right there, right? And then I assume this is his daughter.
Yeah, he has his daughter do it.
She chugs. Now, I think that's against the law. That's straight vodka. It's just what? Look, he's helping her.
It's either water
Dad.
or Sprite.
What's that?
Said it's either water or Sprite.
There you go.
She gets a big ovation.
Of course you should. He
Yeah.
held her up Lion King style, and she got a big applause.
But that wasn't even the only two big people to.
There was something else going on at the
Yeah,
National
so they had Allie Walker, I think,
Part
performing
3.
the game.
All right, here
And
we
she
go.
decided to pour her beer into a catfish.
No. And she has a spotter.
And then drink
God,
it
no.
out of the
Oh,
catfish. Yeah.
Oh, she drinks. Oh. Who is this? Who is Allie Walker?
I'm not sure what she performs, but that was pretty sick.
What she performs. If anyone knows who that is, let us know in the live chat. Hello, live chatters. Was Frank, I can't say that, Joey B. No, we were parkouring. Radical. We were very radical. Our tribute to parkour. The girl drank a beer out of a fish. Ann, how much money would you need to do that?
No, couldn't do it.
Not doing it. Not doing it. Just not even trying. You would think the fish would absorb a lot, and you're getting a lot of that's just gross.
Yeah.
Probably not her first beer of the day is what I'm guessing.
Definitely not.
That's something I would do after a few shots of
A few
Jameson,
others.
maybe, and then I
Yeah.
would do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go. She wins the day, by the way. Congratulations to Allie Walker. She's no red panda, though. Parles, are you listening? Oh, he's not here. Behind the glass, ladies and gentlemen, is our Mr. Relevant, Ryan McCormick, producer. Yay, Ryan. Ryan, what'd you do this weekend?
I got to go to Game 3. Got to
You
watch
did?
some free hockey, overtime hockey.
You did. It was 2-0.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Then I saw you guys tied it up 2-2.
Yeah, I forgot to edit a video together, so we'll have it for tomorrow's show.
Well,
but yeah,
Ann is probably going to agree with me. Why would we ever do another video of you from a hockey game?
because I mentioned.
Oh,
the
you
former
did?
one. Yeah, I mentioned the former one, but
All
yeah,
right.
the Knights could have lost that game
Do we have middle so hard
8-0
lined up
if it wasn't for
just if we want to
the
see
2 goals.
really
All right.
I got middle really hard. That's all we needed to see
All
right there.
But
Did
yeah,
you have a bet on the game?
I did. Yeah, I had the Knights money line, and then I also had the over 6, and it was 1-0 at the end of the first
Right.
period. Then they got 3 goals in the second
Right.
period. Both the Knights goals were with 4 guys on the. It was 4-on-4
Right.
and then shorthanded. They just got dominated 5-on-5, and then no goals in the third period.
Right.
So I lost, being
Right.
that overtime is sudden death.
Maybe
Yeah.
you shouldn't bet the Kings when you're there. Maybe it's the thing.
Knights.
The Knights or the
Yeah,
Kings.
no.
Well, don't bet the Kings. That's
Yeah.
what I'm telling you.
My dad told me from now on I need to start betting unders, so
Yeah.
that way I'll either win the bet or we'll
Right.
see goals.
Or yeah, there you go.
So.
Very smart man. I was telling you this right before the show. You want to talk about overtime playoff hockey? There was a game in Pittsburgh. I believe it was the Flyers or Capitals. It was the Penguins. It went 4 or 6 overtimes. The game started at 7:30. I was at a bar on the south side of Pittsburgh called Mario's, which is a very famous bar. They let us stay. The game went past 2 a.m. They let us stay. And they locked the doors. They said, all right, anyone who's in here can stay. They gave us free beer. And then the Penguins lost in overtime. But it was a hell of a game. And I think it was 4 or 6 overtimes. Maybe our guest will know. Because I'll tell you about our guest who's coming up a little later in a few moments. 16-year NHL career, Stanley Cup champion. He's in the Hall of Fame. Eddie Olczyk will be here. Also talk hockey, playoffs. We'll talk Kentucky Derbies this weekend.
Yep.
So we'll bring Eddie on in a few minutes. That's very exciting. And Eddie also has a book right here. Ryan and I each have a copy. There it is.
Beating the Odds.
Beating the Odds. Eddie Olczyk.
His
Great picture of Eddie.
biography with Perry Lefko.
Very nice.
Yep.
Everyone loves Perry Lefko. We'll find out about Perry Lefko. Anyway, that's great. I'm very excited to have Eddie on the show. He'll be here. And this gentleman, he's journeyed across town. This is his return appearance on the show. He at one time had the most viewed clip ever on Punchlines that has since been surpassed. So he's here to reclaim his title. He told a great story about when he used to perform in a Blues Brothers duo, and he was on an elevator with Michael Jordan. You can find it in the shorts section. Hysterical story. Andy Martello will be here. Yay, Andy, straight from Aviator Park over there. I call it Aviator Park. It's called the ballpark. But anyway, Andy and I will be working together this weekend, actually. And he's going to sit in with posts with punchlines and crack some jokes because he's a very funny gentleman. Today is April 29th, 2024. It's Viral Video Day. So listen, you guys can listen to this show podcasts, right? We're on wherever you get podcasts, Audible, Amazon, Apple,
Spotify, Apple Music,
MySpace, Friendster, all that stuff. So make sure you listen to the podcast. But it's Viral Video Day, so help us go viral. This is a stacked show, ladies and gentlemen. You got Ryan and I doing parkour. You got a Stanley Cup champ, and you got Andy Martello doing posts with us. There's a lot on this show. Share this show. Make it go viral. We'd really appreciate it. It's also National Zipper Day. Here, let me just celebrate that by zipping up my zipper on my shirt.
Button-down shirt. Whoa, how'd you
am
do
I hearing
that?
it? Are they hearing it at home? Okay.
How are you doing that?
That was worth it. We were going to rehearse that, but anyway. It's also World Wish Day. Ryan, what's your wish for the world today?
For the world?
Well, it's world. Everyone's making a wish.
Well,
what's your wish today?
I would wish for a great show today.
For a great show. That's right. Ann, do you have anything?
I came to class unprepared. I'm sorry.
I didn't understand the assignment. If Jerry or Drew Dog, do they have a wish? They could make a wish today? For the studio to keep on chugging. We can do that. Drew Dog?
I wish my car would be finished at the mechanic.
Wants his car to be done. That sounds like it's been there a while, I gather. Very good. Remember, Punchline Picks at 12:36 coming up. We are going to get a few names from Eddie O about the Derby. We have the lineup for that. That's at 12:36. Ryan and I each have a pick as well. Today is episode 142. 142 shows, Ryan. We've done about 135 together, I'm assuming.
Probably closer to 130, but yeah.
Closer to 130?
Yeah, still over 100.
And, we've been looking back 100 shows ago to get good clips, right? Show people, look how far we've come. So I looked 100 shows ago, and nothing really worth showing. So there you go. We'll just skip that. We'll do it tomorrow when
We've come a long way.
We've come a long way, yeah. 100 shows ago, show 42. Nothing really there. Late breaking news story. I just want to point out that Travis Kelce has been extended by the Chiefs for 2 years. I guess his contract was running out. He extended for 2 years. They didn't disclose the figures. I'm sure he knows the figures. And I can only assume when he showed them to his girlfriend, Taylor Swift, she went, "Oh, that's cute." Thank you for the laugh, Ann. I don't know if that was real or not. Because when I came up with that joke right before air, she laughed. And then I'm like, now when I do it on the show, you got to do it. It's good. And she went a little over the top. All right. In 1 minute, we're going to have Eddie Olczyk here. We're going to take a quick break, make sure everything's set. And we'll be right back with Stanley Cup champ Eddie O right after this.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Punchline. Just want to make sure everything was ready to go because we have a very special guest right here. This gentleman, of course, I remember him from his time in Pittsburgh. We're going to talk about the Igloo a little bit. We already mentioned he's in the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame, Stanley Cup champ with the '94 New York Rangers, who are looking very good. We'll get his take on that. And he has this book out now, Eddie Olczyk, Beating the Odds. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Eddie Olczyk.
Yeah, Eddie.
And Ryan, why don't you go ahead and talk about the family connection here with Eddie? Eddie, welcome to the show.
So Eddie is good,
Thank you very much,
good friends
Frank
with
and
my
Ryan.
dad. Yeah.
And you show him the jersey you're with. Does he see?
Yeah.
Look at that.
That is vintage right there. There's only maybe one or two of those out there. So I have one of them, and Ryan's got the other one on. So.
I like that Ryan.
Thank you.
Ryan wanted to show you that the last name in case
showing everybody.
I figured it was an old Eddie Olczyk number 16 Blackhawk sweater. And look, first off, it's great to be with you guys. Thanks a lot for having me. Playing in my hometown as I did my first 3 years in the National Hockey League, was drafted by my hometown team, the Chicago Blackhawks, back. I can't believe this, but I'm doing the quick math. The draft, when I got drafted in June of 1984, is that 40 years ago?
That's the math.
It is 40 years ago coming. My brother Rice High School came in large, So, but look, to grow up in Chicago and live and die with the Blackhawks as I did as a kid, and to get a chance to play for my hometown team. I scored a goal in my very first NHL game against the Detroit Red Wings, and I played my first game as a Blackhawk. I played a lot of games in between, and I played my 1,000th game as a Blackhawk, and I played my last game ever in the National Hockey League with the Blackhawks in 2000. So to live that dream and see that sweater, I think it's the greatest sweater in jersey or whatever you want to whatever you want to refer to as in all of professional sports. But it was great memories, and the number 16 looks pretty good on you, Brian. It looks better on you than it does on your dad.
I mean, how special was playing your final game in your hometown? Did you have family and friends coming out for that final game?
It was against the St. Louis Blues. I remember it like it was yesterday because, Frank, I had come off, I had missed almost 4 months with a back injury, and I still had aspirations of playing. Look, and I was probably on the fringe on 18 in my career, so to speak. I thought I could play maybe one more year, and I really didn't have – I don't want to say I didn't have the drive to play that last game, but I had our interim head coach, Lauren Mollican, who I eventually hired on my staff when I was coaching in the Berg with the Penguins a bunch of years later. But, he just said, hey, Edzo, look, man, I know you want to play next year. I'm not sure if it's a guarantee, but – you'd probably be really pissed off if you didn't play in this last game, And I went home, I thought about it, and I said, you know what, Lorne, you're probably right. So I got a chance to play after being out for 4 months. But to close out my career, because I played my first 3 years home here in Chicago, and then I played my last 2 years in the NHL with the Blackhawks. So obviously a lot of stops in between. But I kind of came full circle for sure, Frank, and I'm thankful that I was able to do that.
Well, you mentioned Pittsburgh, so I have to interject, as I always do on the show real quick. Now, Ed, you mentioned Edzo. Is it true Mike Lane gave you that nickname, broadcaster?
Actually, it was Kevin Stevens, though.
Oh, Kevin Stevens.
Kevin Stevens gave it. We played in L.A. together in 96 when I had a cup of coffee with the LA Kings. And then eventually I ended up going to the Berg in 97 at the trade deadline in March of 97. And then, I played the 2+ years in the Berg. And then I went back home to Chicago. And then the Penguins hired me to do their TV for 3 years. And then I became the head coach after my third year of broadcasting and spent almost parts of 2 seasons coaching with the Penguins. So I spent a healthy 8 or 9 years of my hockey life in the Berg and loved every second of it. It was awesome.
And the Igloo,
it was awesome.
That's where I saw my first ticket. That Civic Arena. I mean, it's one of those old venues. It was such a great venue. I loved the Igloo, man. And that was great.
I did. I loved it there. I mean, it was, it's like the buildings today. I mean, I'll take T-Mobile out of it out there in Vegas, obviously where Rye is, right? Like they built this as a old school hockey rink where, the fans are right on top of you. Like today's buildings, it's up and out, if that makes any sense. Now, T-Mobile, I mean, the people are on top of you, and it's straight up. And it's like the old buildings used to be, like the Igloo, like the old Chicago Stadium, the Boston Garden, the old New York, the Madison Square Garden, the home of the Rangers. So, Yeah, I mean, playing in playing there as a visitor and then playing there as a Penguin, and then getting an opportunity to broadcast with the great legendary Mike Lang, who was my first real my first real on TV partner, calling games for the Penguins for all those years on Fox Sports Pittsburgh, and then obviously getting a chance to stand behind the bench and coach there. I have fond memories of the Igloo, and it had a certain smell in there, Frank. I don't know if you could really let everybody know, but it just had I don't want to say stench because that kind of sounds a little nasty, but it had a hockey smell in there all the time, and I really enjoyed it.
And there was a beer smell. And by the way, I spilled a lot of those beers there. So that's all I'm going to say. Yeah. There was an incident.
Steel City? Was that it? Steel City? Is that what, yeah?
Steel City. Steel City, yeah. And I took a tumble down a flight of steps. I was a little inebriated at a concert. All right, let's not talk about that. Ryan, why don't you talk a little hockey?
Talking about guys that have had long careers, Alex Ovechkin's now second in goals scored in his career, and he's 42 away from breaking Gretzky's record. Do you think he can get there? How much longer will he have to play?
Yeah, I mean, the way it's looking, do I think he could have a 42-goal season next year, Ryan? I'm not sure, but I think this is on the docket, right? Like, we all have bucket list things, and I would imagine for the grade 8 is that, he wants to surpass the great one and do it. And I always tell people this, and I know I'm kind of going off path here, but any conversations that I have with people and we talk about, Wayne Gretzky or Mario Lemieux, and I really believe is that, Wayne Gretzky has more assists in his NHL career than anybody else has points. And then you add the 892, I believe, is the right number. Don't quote me because I've got a lot of numbers going on with the Derby coming and the playoffs here and everything. So, I really believe is that if Gretz wanted to, he probably could have scored another 300 goals if he wanted to. I really believe that. And we all know what look at Mario was on a pace. Frank, you would know this.
Oh yeah, we talk about it all the time.
He was on a pace that, he would have been right there. And obviously the back injury and things that he battled, and look, at injury's a part of it, right? Like, you got to stay healthy and whatever. And unfortunately for the original ace, he wasn't able to do that, but he was on course. Like, it looked like he was going to score 1,000 goals at one point. So I really believe is that both those guys, and goal scorers, you have to. There is a part of being selfish, right? Like, I was lucky enough to be able to score 30-plus goals for 5 straight seasons. I had a 42-goal season in my first year in Toronto. Like, you do have to have some selfishness when it comes to scoring goals. I really believe is that if Gretz and Mario were a little bit more selfish, and I'm saying that in the most complimentary form, is those guys, Gretz, there's no doubt he would add 1,000 goals, right? So, Ryan, great question, long-winded answer. I would say if he could stay healthy, yes, because I think he's going to play as long as he can. But look at, he didn't have a great playoff. He didn't have a great season until the last, 20 games, 25 games where he really caught fire. Yeah. So, I think he's going to do it. I think it's going to be great for the game, obviously. But I would still go down and say that numbers-wise, Ovi might go down for the time being. Look at I think the path that Austin Matthews is on right now. Why can't he surpass both, Gretz and Ovi if he can do that? So I believe he will, because I think that's the mandate for Alexander Ovechkin is to break that record. And after that, who knows from there.
Well, so Ovi was only able to put up 6 shots in this series that they just got swept in.
But that's the Rangers, right? That's the Rangers.
Yeah, that's true. But comparing the evolution of the game, how much do you think Gretzky and Lemieux would have been able to put up in today's game, and what would Ovi have been able to do back then?
Yeah, I think Ovi could have played in our era for sure. There's no doubt, because he's got that body type. He doesn't mind mixing it up. And the one thing I will say, and I picked this up, I'll probably say maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, is that I really think Alexander Ovechkin really did himself a favor of being much more selective when he would engage in physical contact. He would pick his spots. I think early in his career, he thought, I could score goals and I could go ahead and take out, bodies whenever I want. But It's a tough grind in National Hockey League. Like, it's going to take its toll on you. And I think what he did is that he realized he better save some energy for playing on the offensive side of the puck instead of always engaging in physical contact. So I think he became much more selective. And I don't think there's any doubt, in my opinion, and I've been around the National Hockey League since 1984, is that I think that has really helped him to get to where he has the ability to be able to get to here on passing one of the greatest individual numbers that we've ever seen in any professional sport. So he could have played in our era for sure. Now, would he have scored as much? I don't know, because the game is much different now than it was then with the clutching and holding and hooking and all those type of things. But I would say this, is that you mentioned Gretz and Mario. Ryan, I would say is that if those guys played in this game here, they would, I believe that they would both approach the high 180, 190 point totals. I do. I just, because they played an era where you had shadows where guys would just skate around with them and try to deny them the puck. Frank, I'm sure you remember
that's happened to Mario
boatload
all
of
the time,
times. And it happened to Gretz a lot.
Yeah.
I would say, though, that they would be able to really flourish with how many penalties are being called now, the way the game is called now. I think great players could play in any era, but I think the way the game is now, that Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux could lead the NHL in scoring. Now, look at we have some unbelievable players for sure. But I think that the great players would be able to play in any era, and they would put up the numbers because they just have a God-given talent and are able to play that way.
Now, Ovechkin, of course, plays for the Capitals, so I've never really been a fan. But he won a cup. He earned it. He's legendary for what he did with the Stanley Cup when he celebrated for a couple of months. Now,
that's what you do.
Yeah,
that's
what I want to know. What you did in '94.
Let's see. I got to see.
What did you do with the cup?
Here, hold on. You know what? Here. Okay. Give me 8 seconds and I'm going to show you what I did. Okay?
All right, 8 seconds. It's a tribute to Ovechkin. He's going to do it in 8 seconds. Should we time him? 2, 3. We're on the power play. That wasn't even 8 seconds.
Cup in '94 with the Rangers.
That's right. All right. So 94 Rangers. You won the cup.
You got me back?
Yeah,
yes.
we got you.
You got me back. Okay. So this is a 30-year anniversary, right, coming up. So you see this picture here?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't. Okay, first off, I don't know about the shirt, so we'll leave that. We'll leave that to another day. But the gentleman on the left is Nick Zito.
Oh,
a tremendous horse trainer, and he won the Kentucky Derby in 1994.
Okay,
with that horse right there, who is sniffing the Stanley Cup, and that is Gopher Gin. That is Gopher Gin. So on my day with the Stanley Cup, I took it to Belmont Park and had the picture with the Kentucky Derby winner
so awesome.
in 1994, Gopher Gin. So, yeah, again, look at that shirt. I mean, come on. What is that, mustard?
Well, it's Pittsburgh colors. What do you got going there? It's black and gold. Right?
Yeah, it is a little black and gold there. I mean, my hair is certainly a lot blacker then than it is now. So, but, yeah, so that's what I did with the Stanley Cup. And we took it out to Belmont Park. And we put the Stanley Cup, after taking this photo up with Nick and Gopher Gin, is we put the Stanley Cup at the winner's circle at Belmont Park, and we promoted it. And people made donations to the Horsemen's Benevolent Fund to take a picture with the Stanley Cup. And if you've ever been to Belmont Park, it's the longest stretch in the history of stretches at the racetrack. The people were lined up, and they had 15,000 people come through the line that day to see the greatest trophy in all professional sports, and it was great. You talk about things. I mean, we know certain people and certain things stop traffic. I'll just tell you this: when that thing was out in New York back 30 years ago, that thing stopped traffic, no doubt. The Stanley Cup.
I thought maybe he was eating oats out of there. It looked like he was eating.
Well,
I thought maybe
let's clarify. It was a little bait and switch by yours truly. Well, let me just say this: I know factually that there have been a lot worse things in the Stanley Cup than Gopher Gin's tongue. Okay, let me just tell you that. Okay, I've heard. Well, this is a family show, but I've heard of asses being in the Stanley Cup, top of the Stanley Cup.
He means donkeys, ladies and gentlemen. He's talking animals.
Yeah. So all we did was I put a little bit of hay and a little bit of feed in there, and then I kind of cleaned it out, and I wanted to get the perfect look at. Like, to me, when I see that picture, and I can't believe it's 30 years coming up in June. You know, I can't believe it. But it was a little bait and switch. So was there some residue in there? Absolutely. But I will say this: there's been a lot of people eating a lot of different things out of the Stanley Cup, and you should be honored that the Kentucky Derby winner had his snout right in the top of the greatest trophy there.
Oh, that is a wonderful story. Now, Stanley Cup playoffs are underway. Your Rangers look awfully good. They went 4-0, right?
Yep.
So, who do you like?
Trophy winners.
Yeah. How do you like? Yes, and how do you like? What do you like in the Stanley Cup playoffs? Who do you like?
I mean, I've said publicly that I still felt that and I know, Rye, you and your dad are going to like this, even though you guys are diehard and true blue Blackhawk fans. I felt that in the West, the Stanley Cup still was going to have to go, the run was going to have to go through Vegas, Frank. I just still feel that, and I was actually in Vegas on Saturday. I saw Ryan and his dad at the game, but it was an incredible game where Dallas won and probably deserved a little bit better than winning in overtime. But I thought, I thought Vegas in the West and Dallas would be, and they end up playing in round one, right? So, but in the East, I really felt like the Rangers and Carolina, Florida were the three teams that kind of, separated themselves. So how great would it be to see a Vegas Ranger Stanley Cup final? It would be off the charts, not only in New York, but obviously in the VGK. So, but I just think there's something about, having won and done that and all the changes that they made in Vegas. So I know I'm kind of dancing around a little bit in the Eastern Conference, but I do believe, I do believe it's a coin flip. Like if it looks like it's going to be Boston, Florida, right now, Tampa's still alive. Look, and they got Vasilevsky that could go into Florida and win one game, and all of a sudden now you're going back for a game 6. But Florida, Boston, Carolina, Rangers, man, that's probably as good as you can get in the in the semifinals in the Eastern Conference.
Well, talking about the West having to go through Vegas and them having a chance to go back-to-back, how much of that has to do with them getting players off of the LTIR and being able to add other pieces? Is that a loophole that they've kind of exposed, and do you think it needs to be changed coming up?
Well, this. The Blackhawks did it back in 2015 with Patrick Kane, right? Yeah. When he had a clavicle, I think that's the professional term. I just thought it was as a collarbone or something, but he had a clavicle. I sound intelligent, really, for the first time. So they've done it, right? Like he went out for the rest of the regular season, and they added Antoine Vermette from I think he was in Anaheim at the time, or Ottawa, one of the two. Please don't quote me, but they brought him in. And Antoine Vermette ended up being a huge player to center a line with Teuvo Teravainen and the sharpshooter Patrick Sharp, and ended up getting them to the Cup final and eventually winning. So we saw Tampa do it a couple of years later, and then Vegas has done it here. So I don't have a problem with it. And if you have an owner, obviously like Mr. Foley, Bill Foley in Vegas, that you have. It's just, again, this isn't the number of the salary cap, but if you have a salary cap at $84 million, and in our game, in our sport, it's a hard cap. But if you have somebody that is willing to spend 110 or 120 million, and you're not doing anything illegal, and it's going to help your team, and you're going to send a message to the guys in the locker room and to your fan base and the entire organization, they've played by the rules. That there's no other way around it. And we've seen it happen before, and until it changes again, it's going to happen again, and I'm okay with it. So, Ryan, I'm okay. I'm okay with it.
Okay. And then sticking with the other games on the West Conference. So Vancouver completed their comeback, scoring 2 goals in the final 3 minutes.
What a game!
Hat trick by Brock Besser. What does that do for them going forward, the momentum in their locker room? And then what does it do for the Preds not making having the empty netter go off the post, and then they end up losing?
If we got time, I got to tell you a quick story from yesterday. So my weekend for TNT was Friday night in Denver. We did Game 3, Jets and Avs, and then Johnny Forsland and I and Shane Knighty, who did the local broadcast in Vegas on Saturday, we did it on TNT. We flew Saturday morning to Vegas to do Game 3 between the Stars and the Golden Knights, and that was a hell of a game going in overtime. And then Sunday morning we flew, and we had a little bit of a delay leaving Vegas to get back to Denver for a 12:30 local start. We were supposed to leave Vegas at 6. You lose the hour. We were delayed to almost 2 hours. We walked in the building to call the game. at 11:37 local time. So we got there exactly 1 hour before. So it was a little bit of a scramble. But I'm getting to the Vancouver-Nashville game. So as soon as the game was over, we head to the airport, and I'm heading back home to Chicago. I'm watching the Vancouver game on my phone. And I don't know how I was, and Ryan knows this. I'm not very tech savvy, so I get a little angry, and I can't do it. I just bail out. But I got it on my phone, which I was really pleased with. I'm watching the last 4 minutes of the game. Besser scores his second, makes it 3-2, and then right before the game tire, he has it back. He goes from his forehand. He's right-handed. Forehand, backhand. He's got the wide open net. And Saros kind of takes away the net, and he shoots it off the side of the net. And when that happened, I just yelled, "Oh my God!" And the lady next to me, she goes, "Oh, are you okay?" And next thing, I turn, and I see the Canucks hugging and celebrating in the pile. I'm like, how did he score? He missed the chance. And I said, no, I'm just watching the sporting event here, and I couldn't believe the play that happened. She goes, okay. And then I see the replay, and Besser, who I know, matter of fact, I know Brock very well. He played with my youngest son, Nick, who does games in Seattle for the Kraken and pre and post games in intermission there. And I know Brock very well. And I'm watching that game. I'm like, they just scored 2 goals with the goalie out with the last 3.5 minutes of this game. And the first thing I was thinking was like, oh my gosh, like what was the in-game line at about 5 minutes left to go in the game for Vegas and Nashville? And then you saw Elias and Lindholm there scored in overtime. So look you're feeling like you're invincible right now, Rye, for the Vancouver Canucks. I mean, now they probably didn't deserve to win the game, but that happens in the playoffs, right? Like, look at Dallas the other night.
Yeah.
They should have been up 5-0 against Vegas, and all of a sudden you're in overtime,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And Logan Thompson, the goalie for Vegas, probably played the best game of his life, and he lost. So for Nashville, I think you got to say, hey, look, we outplayed them for 56 or 57 minutes, whatever it was. All we got to do is win one game on the road, and then we get back for a game 6. But look, they're up against it for sure. So the mindset is, hey, we're Vancouver. I would say, hey, man, we were lucky. We didn't have our fastball, but we found a way to win a game. That's a sign of a good team. And for Nashville, it's all about what. It's all about, hey, let's just win the first period. Let's get it back here to Smashville, and then let's force a game 7. So can Nashville do it? Yeah. I don't know what the line is for that game, but I give Nashville every opportunity to go into Vancouver and win that game. Now they're going to have to weather the storm, because Nashville is a veteran team. I like their goalie. I would give them every opportunity to go in there. And when it comes to horse racing, I'm not a real favorites player, so I always like the dog. But in horse racing, I like the horse, obviously. I'm not getting confused here. Am I when I'm saying that? But I give Vancouver a big time to get to 6 to get back to Nashville for 6 games.
What's the line?
-120 for the Nucks.
See, I love that you mentioned in-game betting. He mentioned gambling. He's curious about the line, and then you just mentioned horses. So we have to talk about this. Eddie, I've been waiting to say this. I bet your picks on the Derby every year. I'll do some sort of box. Now, a couple years ago, you hit it straight on. But listen. You're right. I did. I remember
got
that.
The trifecta paid $140 for $1. So I'm living off of that, because recently I've had 1 second. I've had a couple of horses that are probably still running and they haven't finished yet. But that's horse racing, and hopefully this year we'll be able to make people a little bit more prouder that follow yours truly's picks at the Derby.
Well, it's 150th running. It's the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby, which is amazing. And it's appointment television this Saturday. Post time 3:57 here. Not our post time, man. Don't play the horns yet. Coming up. But anyway, don't play the horns. But anyway, we saw the 20 horses in there, and right now the Fierceness is the favorite, right? 5-2.
Yes.
So anything? I know you're not going to give your picks till NBC on Saturday, which I will be watching.
No. I mean, look at you gotta watch, because here's the thing with horse racing. People that maybe don't follow it every day. It's like there's a lot of things that could happen in between now, obviously, and race day. Weather. How does this track playing? Meaning, when horses get out on the lead, do they just keep running, or are other horses able to close in from behind? And is it an honest racetrack, so to speak? But I'll be full disclosure. You're right. Fierceness breaking out of post number 17 for Todd Pletcher and Johnny Velasquez, a tandem that won the Kentucky Derby a couple of years ago with a horse by the name of Super Saver. This horse, I think this horse is the real deal. But sometimes you see horses that really good. It reminds me of maybe a really good goaltending performance. Just like Logan Thompson the other night where he plays the best game of his life, but he doesn't win. I think that can certainly happen on Saturday. Am I going to use Fierceness? Absolutely, because I think that he is that talented. But I think he's going to get looked in the eye when they're running around the far turn. I just give everybody maybe a little inside horse racing here. I would say is that when you hear Larry Colmus, the voice of the Triple Crown on NBC, when he is calling the race, he will yell out numbers as the race is going on. Besides the names of the horses and where they are, he will yell out quarter mile time, half mile time, a mile time. If you listen very closely to when he yells, he might have to yell when he announces 3/4 of a mile. Right? There's 8 furlongs in a mile, so 6 furlongs. When he says 6 furlongs in, 3/4 of a mile in, if he says anything in the 110 or lower, so 110 and 4, 110 and 2, 109, the faster they go, the better it is for a horse that I happen to like. And the horse that I happen to like is the number 4 horse, Catching Freedom, for trainer Brad Cox, a Louisville native, by the way. This horse won the Louisiana Derby. The only concern with me is that he was a little bit farther back in a slower pace, which is a little bit concerning to me, because when you got to navigate through 19 other horses and you got to try to, it is pucks and ponies, so I'm going to use a hockey term here. When you got to stick handle your way through, that's not an easy thing to do when you got equine athletes going 25, 30 miles an hour that are 1,200 pounds. You need luck. You need luck. There's no doubt about it. But I think Catching Freedom, who will probably be, I'm going to say probably in that 8 to 10 to 1 range. Look, and I would love to see 12 or 15. I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm going to be using a lot of my wagers around number 4, Catching Freedom, to win the 150th jewel of the Triple Crown. But my final pick will be on NBC all day on Saturday, USA Network on Friday for the Kentucky Oaks as well. But I think this has got a chance to be, obviously, the 150 years. And this is going to be my 10th year being a part of the coverage on NBC. Wow. So very honored and very lucky to be a part of the coverage for NBC. So number 4 for yours truly on Saturday in all of my wagering aspects. Look, I don't know if you can wear out an app on a phone, but let me just tell you this, is that my ExpressBet account is going to get a workout on Saturday. And if there's anybody that could wear out an app, and look, I've worn out a path at the beautiful Red Rock Resort Casino, of course, where Ryan's dad is the main man along with Chucky E there. I've worn out a path to the betting window there, Frank. I've been known to do that every once in a while. Did you ever get to the moon OTB and back in the
hell
yeah,
yes, absolutely, many times.
I spent a year there one night.
Yeah,
and, it was
a movie. Then
time.
they shot some movies in there too, but right before they used it as a movie theater. But
and now no more though. It's gone now. I think it's like a Walmart.
There was a bar called Frederick's that had bands right down the mall there.
Okay.
So I used to spend quite a time out there in Main Township. By the way, speaking of Pittsburgh, one last time, I like Just Steel.
Yeah.
It's a D. Wayne Lucas horse. It's got steel
for
in
sure.
it. I got to bet at 20 to 1.
Okay.
There we go.
I'm thinking that relates to Justin Steele.
Justin Steele?
Cubs pitcher.
There you go. So maybe we both go with Steele. Eddie.
Need some healthy pitchers there on the
they
north
do.
side, by the way.
And the Pirates need some bats. But anyway, here's the book, and we have you holding the Stanley Cup on the back. The horse is not pictured, but we saw that picture. That was the best.
Some people may say after seeing this picture here, where yes, the horse is. I'm not good with the angles here. Yeah, right. But on the back of the page, they may say there's no horse, but there is a horse's ass holding the Stanley Cup. That's what they would say.
Eddie, you were the best, and can't wait to see your picks again. And Ryan, you can say goodbye to him because you know him.
Yeah, no, thank you, Eddie, for coming on the show. It's really been an honor and privilege having you here.
Anytime. Say hi to the family, okay? And anytime you guys need anything. You know where I am. We got a lot of hockey to go here. So
we'll hold you to that. We'll hold you to that when we get closer to the finals. Thank you, Eddie Olczyk.
Thanks.
Thank you. Wow, that was tremendous. And we're going to keep this banner show going. Andy Martello is here. Andy, why don't we just bring you in? We're not even going to go to break. We're bringing him right in, ladies and gentlemen. And play the horns for Andy. Bam, 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 bam. There they are. I don't need these headphones anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Martello, this is a return to the show. I am lucky enough to work under his tutelage at the ballpark with the Aviators. Andy Martello, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it's another Chicago guy. It's like a Chicago episode.
I love every second of that because, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, God, I have a bottle of Malort in my car. We could have had like the most Chicago day ever. We got him in his jersey, your sweater, and me with the Malort, and you wondering, what the hell is Malort? And all of us just.
We talked about this. We talked about old style, and I think we did talk about Malort.
Oh, God. And I'm sitting there, I'm watching, listening to him, and you know, I was, 14 when he first started playing, and literally, if you were in the city of Chicago during any of the times he was playing, you'd have sworn he was the mayor. Yeah, because partially because everybody in Chicago is named Olczyk.
They have some very similar.
And I'm watching the whole the interview, listening along, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, man, it's been a long time since I heard somebody talk like that. And all these things were just floating through my head. I remember watching some of the games. I remember. Just hearing like Jonathan Brandmeier radio program.
I remember Jonathan Brandmeier.
There'd be times, when there'd be a big loss or something, and they would do it. They'd do a quick Olczyk check. We're going to do a quick Olczyk check, and anybody find Eddie Olczyk, and they would literally cast the word out. We have to find Eddie Olczyk. Is he okay? And they're like, yeah, he's having a sandwich over at the South Loop Club. Oh God, thank goodness. We didn't want Eddie to be upset. And I'm also curious. He's had quite an amazing career. What is the number of towns that he lived in, I should say, or just visits that he can no longer pay for food or drinks? Right. Because everybody loves the guy.
Well, Chicago, definitely not. Pittsburgh, probably not either. He was very popular there.
Yeah,
he was a broadcaster too. So
he's a legend.
They take care of the broadcasters. Well, Andy, you're here in time for our post with punchlines. We're going to do a pick at 12:46, by the way. We're going to push it back 10 minutes. Punchline picks at 12:46.
Well, we got Eddie's at 36. We got his Derby pick at 36.
We did. Thank you for pointing that out, Ryan.
You nailed that.
He
That's
liked,
really good.
The 4-horse.
By the way, can I interrupt for 1 second?
Chase Freedom, I believe.
First off, thank you for actually asking me back on. The last time I was here, I just stormed in.
That was on my birthday.
It was on your birthday, and I was trying to ruin your day. There is something I was very excited to come here today.
Okay.
I saw on YouTube they were having the upcoming. You're going to want to tune in, and it said look at the screen right there. It said quite clearly, Andy Martello and Eddie Olczyk. I mean, you put a picture of him up there, but that's what it says on YouTube.
Yeah,
I'm thinking, poor Eddie, this is literally real life puppet show and Spinal Tap for the poor guy. But I was sitting there going, yeah, I finally made it. Suck it, Eddie Olczyk. How do you like that? And then I realized, oh wait, no, it's just.
Yeah,
I'm kind of just alphabetically.
I'm not in charge of the thumbnails. Someone behind the glasses.
Well, whoever is in charge of the thumbnail.
Who do you think it is?
It's got to be Ann. Got to be Ann.
No,
Ryan.
Jerry in the middle.
Jerry, really?
No,
Jerry and Caden.
Who? What?
Who's
Caden.
Caden's not even here. You're lucky.
Who do I owe for that? Hang on.
What do you got there? Is that a hundo?
I got a hundo.
Whoa.
Are you kidding? I've got top billing over Eddie Olczyk money burning a hole in my pants.
Eddie Martello with Eddie Olczyk. There you go.
Yeah,
What
there
was
you
that?
go.
Yeah, I know. We've talked about it. What are we going to do with it?
It's all good. It's
Andy,
all good.
we do our thing with post punchlines. A lot of funny stuff happened over the weekend. We wanted you to sit in with these, and we talk about the ballpark a little bit later. Talk about the foul ball I got that he missed.
I wasn't there.
You were up there getting ready to throw the foam planes.
That's right. We were doing the Lord's work. We were playing games. It's
all
all
right,
good.
we're going to start off with Chicago because we have Andy here. So why don't we keep rolling with Chicago? This is the White Sox, right?
Yes.
The White Sox are having attendance problems. They're having they're just having problems everywhere. They're like 4-22. Or did they win their fifth game?
They won the series against the Rays.
Yeah, so I think they're up to 5 wins.
They did win something.
So we showed their crowd attendance back in the middle of April, them having nobody there for a doubleheader day. And then they came out with pretty much the same spot in the stadium. They panned the stadium, and it was
same
full.
spot. And look, it was full. They're like, nobody wants to see this, or nobody wants you to see this. But yes, they're getting people coming to the White Sox games. So look, there you go. Split screened it. Very nice.
There's a couple of them. It's fine. It's fine.
Some diehards. Now, the question is, of course, what was the bobblehead giveaway and what time did the fireworks start after the game? Usually that brings a big crowd into any stadium. But yeah, they had some people there. Weather's always a big thing.
Well, the thing that must have got them there was the jerseys, the custom jerseys that some people made.
Yeah.
For the milkshake.
Okay.
So
there's a very popular snack item. They don't have this at the ballpark in Vegas, but
We
they
need
have great
one.
stuff.
Yeah.
But look at this thing. Not that.
that's
That's
8.
later. The milkshake.
anything with cow print is good.
We're gonna do that later. No, look at these. This campfire milkshake, and two guys who judging by the size of them, they've had a few.
Yeah, are you kidding? They have the
milkshake.
cow.
probably per game.
the cow's actually a nice segue.
That's
so
right.
what is it? There's booze in that. You can get booze in it, I believe. Yeah, that was like an add-on, I think. But anyway, that's the campfire milkshake. Look at that thing.
If there is anything that they need at any White Sox games, it's more dairy and more booze. That is absolutely that's the secret to success. If you go to a White
looks
Sox
amazing.
game. Yeah, that's a fantastic thing. I do admire the White Sox. I grew up a Cubs fan.
Okay.
But the White Sox are the only professional team in Chicago that actually had me out there to do an entertainment event, and this was right after they won the World Series.
Okay.
And I only spent thousands of dollars as a Cubs fan, and they actually paid me to go work at a White Sox event, which was really cool. I met Jim Tomei and talked to a bunch of other players there. It was a great event, first off, because it was a postseason event, obviously. The World Series trophy was there, and many of the inner city school children were brought in, and they were being served lunch by White Sox players, by world champion players.
Really cool.
We had Przinsky was there, and Jim Tomei, I've had
several other players,
many others. Yeah, I'm terrible at remembering these names at the time.
Mark Burley
was there. Yes,
there
and I remember talking
Konerko?
to Konerko was there. Yes, and then I think that was all we had. We just had the four, but it was really cool because they were in it. They were so into this event.
That's great.
I'm talking to Tomei, who I've got family in Cleveland too, so of course he was. He's just a legend. Had a lovely conversation. He was so kind, and he says, "I really hate to cut this short. I need to serve hot dogs to children." And I'm like, he was in it. Yeah,
he has a reputation of being the nicest guy ever to play in baseball.
Yeah,
he's like in the top 5 of all time. You read it all the time. Did we have a thing with Nagel was here? I think we were talking about Jim Tomei.
I'm also pleased that the White Sox they saw how bad the A's did last year, and they're like, wait. Hold my beer. We can get a stadium by sucking this bad. Let's go for it. Let's do this.
We shall see.
We'll see. Who knows?
We just missed 46.
I know we do. Okay, well,
okay, here's a pick.
Okay,
do it on 47. Do it on 47.
I have a pick, and go ahead and show the cow jersey, Ann. I like the Baltimore Orioles today.
46.
12:46.
Oh my God, you spent money on a jingle.
Well, it was done in-house by a very talented Jerry Trevino there.
That's great.
Jerry,
good job,
take
Jerry.
credit for that. Yeah.
Good job, Jerry. That's fantastic.
Colton Cowser, a woman made some cow jerseys. There's the cow print for her favorite player, Colton Cowser. I like the Orioles tonight at home. They lost to the A's yesterday. They actually lost to the A's. They stayed in town. Yankees traveled in from Milwaukee. But Grayson Rodriguez, I watched him pitch a few games this year. He beat the Pirates. This kid's unbelievable. I think 34 strikeouts against only 9 walks. So they're a minus 121.
Down to 20, flat.
Down to 120. Okay, they're minus 120. I like the Orioles. So your pick of the day for me is the Baltimore Orioles. Do you have a pick, Ryan, for picks at 12:40?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the NBA.
Okay. I know what you're going to do.
The Timberwolves pulled off their sweep last night.
Yes.
I'm going to go with another sweep tonight, the higher seed in the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder, to sweep the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans have not scored over 92 points in this series.
Yeah.
The Thunder should put in work and finish that series.
I didn't think you were taking you were looking at the Laker-Denver game again.
Oh.
Denver's favored by, I think, 7.5, but that could be ugly.
Yeah, down to 7 here.
It's down to 7. That could be ugly. Anyway, all right, your picks at 12:46. Orioles and
Thunder,
Oklahoma Thunder.
I have a pick.
You have a pick. Andy has a pick.
Keeping with this. First off, we're sticking with baseball in Danville. I believe it's Danville, Vermont. The Danville Dairy Daddies.
Oh,
yeah.
In Wisconsin, in Appleton, Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Udder Tuggers, the Milwaukee Milkmen, and June 15th at Las Vegas Ballpark, we will become the Oatly Oat Milkers. Yes, indeed we will. Yes, we'll be the 121st professional team in minor league baseball. They have bought a huge buy-in. They are taking over every team gets to play one game as the Oat Milkers. So there you go. There's my picks. You didn't think I could do this.
I like it. You're on fire.
Come on.
You have the Dairy Daddies shirt.
Yeah, I have a couple.
Oh yeah, I'm getting that. Oh, and I'm also going to get the Wichita Cow Tippers. I'm going to get some product from them too.
Have you ever been cow tipping in real life?
Yes.
Did you? I didn't
Yeah,
have the heart. I had friends that wanted to do it one night. A few beers had been imbibed. I couldn't do it. I'm like,
I couldn't. Well, here's the thing. My friends were. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And I grew up on a farm. Like, hey, let's go cow tipping. And I was just an idiot, kid. I'm like, of course, let's do that.
What is it?
Then my friends were like, well, here's what we got to do. First off, we have to push over this cow. And I'm like, I'm 12. I can't.
Yeah.
There's no way. I mean, get me a baby cow. Can I get? Can I get a calf? Can I push
calf.
that?
Yeah, there you
and
go.
then it dawned on me. I'm like, that's a terrible thing to do.
Yeah,
and so I abstained from the cow tipping and watched my friends attempt. Yes, thank you. I don't
Wait,
need
your
the
friends attempt. Did they succeed?
No, very.
Cows are like 1,000 pounds.
They are not easy. You know, they are if you run up against them. I don't know. There's a method to do it properly.
We'll have to Google that. Google cow tips.
The same friend of mine that failed at tipping a cow got very drunk in his later years and decided he was going to ride a bull. That we're not talking in a rodeo situation. He was visiting.
Just a wild bull?
Came visiting me. There's a bull at a neighboring farm, and he's like, I'm gonna ride that bull. And I said, you go right on ahead.
Go for it. Let me get my
Never seen a man
camcorder ready.
more frightened in my life because he got in. The second he crossed the fence, the bull was like, oh, I'm killing you, and it's gonna hurt.
I sat on an ostrich once, and I find that picture of me on an ostrich, and that was scary because they raced ostriches. Like I sat on one in the gate, and they're mean birds, and they're big. And I have the picture. I will find
an ostrich almost killed Johnny Cash. That's all you need to know about ostriches. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, he got eviscerated by an ostrich on his own farm, his own ostrich.
Ryan, Google eviscerated. All right. Anyway, let's move on to the next.
Eviscerated. I'm sorry.
Either way. What do we got next? We were moving on.
So from the Chicago White Sox attendance, the NFL Draft released their attendance.
Set a record, right?
So in Detroit, there were 775,000 people in attendance across the 3 days. Oh, that's a different one.
How much you want to bet that's Brad?
But yeah, during the draft, the Lions.
Well, during the draft, we'll do it backwards. Okay, so there. Look at the attendance. Look at Chicago. Not even registering compared to Detroit. Look at that. And then Dallas. Dallas seems to be the low. That seems, impact from COVID. Yeah, but Dallas is the lowest one. It doesn't surprise me. They're not fans. Cowboys suck. Detroit, though, come on, 3/4 of a million people. They said over 1 million people in and out of the whole area all weekend, and nothing. Of course, we want to make Detroit jokes here.
No,
about whatever. No,
I love Detroit.
I do too.
I have a great time there every time I go.
They did the best job. There is a rumor that I thought they were going to announce this week, and I've heard from good people, inside sources, that the draft will be held in Pittsburgh in 2026. Don't confirm that. I'm just saying it's a rumor.
Well, next year it is in Green Bay.
It's in Green Bay. So there you go.
So
now that's going to be kind of cool because it's like a neighborhood thing. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, I saw a joke post saying that the 2 hotels are already sold out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Both of them, yeah.
There's Airbnb houses you can rent for not a lot of money.
What
that
are
are
Airbnb?
in that Airbnb.
Well, of course, not a lot of money. It's in Green Bay. Yeah,
but they're right on the street. Like you walk out your door and there's the stadium, and you can Airbnb that for a game.
Yeah.
I say road trip and petty cash. What's our petty cash standing at?
We'll have to go to Green Bay.
I'll throw some money in there.
What about the mini-dar money? Where's the mini-dar money? We'll put that towards the trip.
If they do have the draft out there and they don't have a Pat McCurdy show, I'm not going.
Who's Pat McCurdy?
I did that for all my Chicago folks.
Okay.
Pat McCurdy, legendary comedian, musician. He's about 140 years old now.
I know the name.
He plays probably about 300 dates a year, bars, colleges, comedy everywhere. Milwaukee Summerfest. He's the only entertainer who, for like 20 years of Summerfest, is the only person who played literally every night of Summerfest.
Wow,
that's how popular
I know
the guy
the name.
is.
The name
Very funny man. Very talented guy. He's great. If they have it in Green Bay. Oh, and by the way, he can't stand football or Green Bay. So, which is funny because he was commissioned by Green Bay to write a song for the team, which he just loved.
But he
was
took
like,
the money.
I'm going to take that money and I'm going to make fun of them as much as possible.
What do we have next, Ryan?
Well, so the video that Ann showed, the Lions wore the black jerseys, all wearing 89, which is the number that Dan Campbell wore.
Yes.
So everyone in the war room wore Dan Campbell jerseys during their draft.
That shows you about the Lions and the environment he's created there. Because everyone's usually wearing their best suits. They save up. They know they're going to be on ESPN and the NFL Network, and they wear these really nice suits. These guys are like, screw it, give us a Dan Campbell jersey. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And everything Dan Campbell's done has been great.
Yeah,
the Danimals.
I'm trying to organize a day at the Aviators ballpark where at least my friends will show up. I get like 20 of my friends, and they all wear one of my different Aviators jerseys with my.
You have
my
around
name.
20.
I've got probably about 20 or
Who
25.
has more, you or Alex White?
I don't know. I think Alex actually does.
The Jimmy Buffett one you had on last week was amazing.
It was pretty sweet. It looks nice. Yeah,
I like
it's
that one
not
a lot.
bad. If you have to pay tribute to Jimmy Buffett, do it.
It was
do
a
it
good
in a
one.
baseball
Got little
jersey.
fins and sharks on it. It was great. All right, what's next?
So sticking in the NFC North.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Vikings drafted J.J. McCarthy with the 10th
Look at
overall
this
pick.
picture, Andy.
And this is him going through the Vikings facility, taking in their practice facility, and then somebody makes a joke on him towards the end when you get to see his full body. That you'll kind of get why we said ring bearer.
He looks very young, but he does the suit. I mean, it looks like a ring bearer at a wedding.
Yeah, it's not quite his dad's suit, and it's not. Yeah, it's definitely that's off the rack.
It's off the rack. That is definitely not. That is not.
There's nothing
custom.
wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. I've never been. When I buy something off the rack, immediately hemmed.
Yeah,
Gotta get the pants
it
hemmed.
tailored. Yeah, there's a few. Yeah, it's fine. It's he'll have what do you call that? Money.
He'll have a lot of money.
He can get himself a
drafting
real,
fifth. Was he fifth overall?
10th
overall. Yeah, he's gonna. It's still 10th money.
Yeah,
still pretty good. He'll be able to get
He was the 5th quarterback taken.
5th quarterback there. Yeah,
one day he will be so famous. He will be on this show as second bill to me. That's what's
J.J. McCarthy opening.
Yeah.
For Andy Martell. You're headlining. Right. You're closing the show.
Oh, that's how I should really look
You're
at
the
it.
Headliner.
Wow, it's been so long since I was one of those. I don't understand.
By the way, May 17th, May 18th, Frank Nicotero, Jimmy Kimmel.
Got to see Frank Nicotero. Jimmy Kimmel's,
Jimmy
right?
Kimmel Comedy Club, May 17th. This Wednesday, I'm at the Copa. I don't know what that is, but I'm doing it. It's at the some bar around here. That's the warm-up show.
You should all go see it and tell me how it is, because I didn't get tickets for that.
I haven't doled them out yet. You're on the list. All right, what's next?
So sticking with the NFL draft content, before the draft, there was a restaurant in Carolina that had a sign saying "Let the GM and coach make the pick."
Because last year Carolina took Bryce Young overall #1.
Yeah,
didn't work out. C.J. Stroud went 2.
Their owner David Tepper wanted to make the play.
So they literally were like, "Hey, this is a little fu to the owner, Bad Tepper, is what we call this clip. Bad Temper Tepper. I believe he's from Pittsburgh actually." So he saw the sign and comes in. First of all, he removed the guy's hat. You should never do that. Guy
Don't
could have
do
a
that.
scar under there. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's bad etiquette. It could be.
And he's a billionaire. I believe he's the richest owner in the NFL. So he stops in this little diner who put a little funny joke about and he stops in to complain. And he brought like some muscle with him. Look, a guy who looks remarkably like him.
So he's pulling a Karen, really. I'm a billionaire. He's a billionaire Karen.
He's a Karen. It's Karen Tepper. Yeah. So he comes in and he's like, "Do you think that's good taste? You should be doing that." I don't know why he has that accent, because he's from Pittsburgh, I think. But anyway, it's like, okay, get out. I mean, he's just.
Know who did the sign.
So this is the owner of the restaurant.
We don't know. He's like, what do you mean you don't know? You know? So,
Nice.
but he seemed really nice.
Yeah.
And he was joking around, shook hands with the manager, was giving him hell about his Eagles hat.
So that's why he took it off of him.
It's just you don't really know someone until you actually know him, right?
So
deep. That was deep right there, man.
Yeah, you don't really know until you don't really know. Wow.
Do you know him though? Because
he looks like who's that actor? Not C. Thomas Howell.
Michael J. Pollard?
No, not Michael Pollard. He was in Boogie Nights. I'm such an idiot. He was
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, he was like a Philip Seymour Hoffman character there. Yeah, that's what we were getting.
When he tries to kiss Dirk Diggler. Yeah.
That he could have a career doing that because.
Well, because we're not going to go there, are we?
Oh, no.
Because he's passed away. Okay,
I didn't want to say it, but I'm just saying if they're casting a Philip Seymour Hoffman type,
that's the guy.
This is your guy because the actual one is presently out of work.
Andy, I want you to listen up to this next clip because we're staying with the Panthers.
Panthers, their first-round pick.
So it's their first-round pick
overall.
And here's a press conference. See if you can decipher what he says here. It's very Southern speaking.
Like when you got the call. Because I saw the emotion in your face in the video.
Here's the question.
What were those emotions?
Overly excited my whole time, and I really trying to hold my tears in for real, man. I told my folks I wasn't going to crack. I was trying to be tough guy, but man, I was really overly excited.
What?
I got it.
You got it? What did he say?
Yeah, he said, "Just hang loose, blood. She's
there
gonna
you
get
go.
back on you." Yeah, it was
the transition.
It was Barbara Billingsley moment from Airplane. That's what we had.
Jive?
Yeah. No, he was happy as hell. He was holding back tears. That's what you need to know.
Have you seen the movie Airplane?
That's what he was doing.
Yes, I've seen Airplane.
No, that was great. I remember I saw a clip of that over the weekend, and I was like, people are going to be ragging on this guy. He's Southern, and that's how
they
that
talk.
was a happy man.
Oh,
let's face it,
yeah.
happy as all get out. And I don't understand him, but I probably, I don't understand football. So what is it?
Xavier Leggett,
No.
whatever. Xavier. Anyway, good luck with the Panthers. What do you have next on the rotation?
Well, we had Eddie O on the show earlier today talking hockey, but there was a goalie in the minor leagues. That
This one.
In his press conference, it was a little more understandable, but more questionable.
Can understand
statement.
what he's saying, but I don't understand what he's saying, Andy. Listen to this one.
Leave with a win rather than a goal. Not trying to be too horny for scoring more than what you need. So we got what we needed, and that was it.
He's horny for scoring.
That's a T-shirt right there.
That's right there. Well, TM that. Copyright it.
Let's do this right now. Let's
Double
start
entendre
putting
there.
these out.
Yeah.
Horny for scoring.
Well, it's 2024. You could say horny, right?
We just did. There's nothing we can do.
How many
Several
times?
times.
How many
Several
times can
times.
we
I
say
think we're
horny while you're
picking up
still
the
on?
The over-under is
tally over
3.5 times.
All
We
right.
got time.
Okay. Excellent. I could say horny.
Over.
Horny.
Horny.
Are we
All
still
right.
counting? Horny.
We're
Okay.
still on. We're still on the air.
That's just horny. I can't believe you said that.
What's next?
So, moving to boxing, the guy that just beat, I forget. Oh, Devin Haney, in a boxing match.
Oh, Harris. Yeah.
Ryan
Garcia.
Garcia.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That guy's horny.
Met
When you see this clip.
met
till you see
Donald
it.
Trump.
Okay, he
and
shadow
did
boxed for
some-
Donald Trump. Here we go.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
He's loosening up.
Let's see what you got, fast hands.
Okay, here we go.
I don't understand why he needs to do the noises.
Do the noise. He wants to let people know that he's by, and then a wave, and apparently he shadow boxed so hard the buttons fell off his shirt, and it's
Yeah,
wide
and
open
it
now. I'm going to do that
Made
too.
it faster?
That's
I
great.
don't,
This is what
okay,
all the
Frank,
people
you
wanna
can
see
stop.
him. Oh my God!
Well, if we're if we're getting horny up in this thing,
Oh
all
my
right.
God,
let's-
where did we go?
How white am I? It's going to be in the 90s this week. I need to get some.
Oh yeah. Well, I can't tan. I burn like a California wildfire. So it's literally I peel. What was there was a comedian. I think his name was Mark Pitta.
Mark Pitta. I know Mark
Yeah,
Pitta.
I think he had a line about how I tan, I burn, I peel, making my skin suitable for immediate reburning. I think that was his
Mark
joke.
Pitta's best joke is he's talking about driving on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and it shows the amount of fines because it used to show you, like, if you're going 80 miles an hour, it's 100. He goes, so people are passing each other due to peer pressure. Like, I can afford that. I'm going to go faster than this guy.
Yeah.
It was one of the first.
He had a great joke about the soft lettuce or soft
I don't remember.
celery.
Mark Pitta was great. I think he's still out there.
I just remember he had a joke. Why do they have this in the fridge? The crisper, crisp. What are they keeping crisp? And then he would go on about soggy celery.
Mark Pitta.
Yeah,
Mark Pitta reference.
I'm pretty sure that's him. So
Yeah, he was very funny. Is that it?
So one last post. More Caitlin Clark content.
Okay.
She was at the Pacers game, and a fan asked her to sign something that you normally don't get signed.
Yeah. It's an ultrasound, Andy. She had someone sign an ultrasound. That's her first only ultrasound.
Dooming the child. You must be a fan or that's it.
I think she either
why
has
do you
to
sign
be
an
named
ultrasound?
Caitlin.
What's that again?
If it's a girl, she has to be named Caitlin.
Caitlin. If it's a boy, Clark.
That
Right?
I
works.
think that's what-
Actually that works.
exactly what that
Dice
means.
Clay in the studio of his
Ann, are you all right?
Little Miss Muffet. Oh!
Ann, did you get a little horny back there?
Travis Kelce's contract extensions were $34.25 million, or as Taylor Swift calls it, tip money.
Yeah, that's chump change.
That's chump change.
That literally is chump change. That's the chump, and she's going to change him soon. Hey.
So what else is going on with you this week? What else? You're at the ballpark?
Yeah, at the ballpark, yeah. I actually had 2 days off in a row, which is over the next 30 days, I'll have maybe 4 days off in total.
It's like the hardest working man in Vegas.
Yeah, I know. If only I had the luxurious life that a Frank Nicotero does.
This is 1 hour a day that I do enjoy. We work very hard on putting a show
Absolutely.
together.
As you
Ryan
should.
and Ann and Jerry and Drew Dog over there. We do a good job. Caden downstairs with the thumbnail. We didn't put your picture. I apologize.
It's
You'll
okay.
be fired.
It's all good. I got top billing. All my friends in Chicago, why are you listed ahead of Olczyk? I'm like, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone.
We had a lot of chats. We Eddie Olczyk. When we get a big guest like that, we're talking hockey and horse racing, which is timed perfectly. Thank you for doing that, Ryan. We didn't get to a lot of them. We were going to try a fan pick section. We do want to show you guys. So that's new. I'm going to announce it. Tommy, sorry we didn't get to it. I'm gonna reach out to some of you guys. When we do our picks at 12:36 tomorrow.
Hey, get it on time. What's wrong with you? Come on, get it on time.
Well, we had a special guest, and you don't want to interrupt him when he's talking about horses. He did give a pick at 12:36.
I didn't talk about horses at all.
We didn't play the jingle.
Joey B was in the chat. Andy had mentioned the Oat Milkers coming to Vegas. The Aviators rebranding to them for a game. He wanted to see what the hat looked like, so I've got it on my.
It's beautiful. It's the jersey and the hat.
Just an OM on the
OMs.
Yeah.
Now it's oat milk, and you put that with one of these Colton cow jerseys.
It's like the Malmö Oat Milkers from Sweden or something
Going
like
back
that.
To
Yeah.
Chicago drinks. Tommy, by the way, pointed out that the overtime game was against the Capitals. I wasn't sure if it was Caps or Flyers, and it went 4 periods in overtime.
Yeah, the 6 overtime game. I would assume that you weren't there because it was in 1936.
Yeah. No. Well, No, I was not there.
No.
The 4 overtime. 4 felt like 6, though. But you got to remember, 20 minutes each full and then 20 minutes in between. It was 2 a.m. when the game ended. They let us stay in the bar.
My first hockey game ever was the triple overtime Stanley Cup final game 1 in 2013.
So you probably thought this is how it's going to be every game. It's going to be this great.
Oh, yeah. My dad and I got to go to White Castle at like 1 a.m. on the way back. So
nothing
So you'll never
better.
forget that day.
It was
nothing
and that's
better.
what sports do, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching the show. We went a little overtime. The rest of the week, Tuesday, tomorrow, Matt Neverett will be live in the studio co-hosting. Wednesday is an Alex White day. Thursday.
As well as Dwayne Colucci.
Thursday. Kaluch. We have Jeff Parles. Chris Andrews is going to stop in. And on Friday, we have Alex White once again.
And possibly Ralph Sirocco.
Why? To talk Kentucky Derby on May 4th, which is also
I love the
Star Wars
Derby.
Day.
Yeah, horse racing is my favorite thing to watch. It really
Name
is.
one horse.
Name one horse. There was a horse I bet on in Arlington named Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. And I used to have a rule. I would bet on any horse Pat Day was riding. And you know what? Always
dude,
won.
Yes.
Always won.
This is why I love Andy. I used to go to the OTB. We used to bet Pat Day. What horse is Pat Day on? I'll take him.
Yeah, if he's on a horse, I'm betting it. Even if what are the odds? 1 billion to 1 is Pat Day riding? Oh, okay.
I bet so much money on Pat Day. I love it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We will be back tomorrow with another episode. Make sure you check out Sports by the Book. But we'll be back at high noon in the desert tomorrow. Punchlines line stands for Live in Nevada every show.